welcome back to another episode of the 12th Team Podcast, Manga Section Edition. We are covering again One Piece Chapter 1126, Settling the Score. Now, based off the title, of course, we know for a fact that it's time to get down to business. Some people are definitely going to have them scores settled. But we jump right into it. Of course, the cover art. Yamato is sitting down eating at the Soba restaurant as she eats her noodles and realizes that some of the girls from the Sobo shop have been going missing. Of course, we know that Yamato means business with what she is doing or what he is doing, as they're going around trying to make sure that she clears the name for herself before she sets out to sea. She can make sure she does everything inside Wano, where Wano is protected going forward through her protection before she sets out to be a great pirate. Now we jump right into it, of course. And we start off with Oimon and Kashi. If you don't remember Oimon and Kashi, those are the two giants that were back on Water 7 protecting the gate that the Frankie family took down. Well, the Frankie family and Galila at the time took down together. But they're, of course, rejoicing. They're hopeful. Everything is spirits are up. They're drinking. They're eating. And, of course, they do nothing but thank Luffy, of course, for what he has done. It's been over 100 years since they seen their bosses. And of course, their bosses still have this fight to the death going strong. Dory and Bragi sit around and they still tell the tale that how they were just weapons completely destroyed as after they left the Straw Hat Pirates, of course. And they got into this huge thing and say, you know what? Our weapons won't work, but our hands sure as hell will. So what do? They start using them hands, and they start throwing them until Oimon and Kashi popped up with the rest of the crew to take them away. And of course, Nami is looking on like, wait, you guys did what? And she's confused because Dory and Bragi tell them that this fight to the death is not over with yet. There's only one way to end it, and that way has not come yet. Somebody must go. And they went to Elbaf, of course, just so to get new weapons. Then they're heading right back out so they can go and finish their great battle as two friends or rivals battle it to somebody is put 6 feet under. Or it'd be 600 feet under. These giants kind of big. But, But of course, we know that Usopp is super charged up and he's in the front line because now he knows that, hey, from Little Garden, Nami, if you didn't learn by now, hey, you guys to know, a fight between two men or duel between two men must end with dignity, and it has to end with how they say it's going to end because they got to keep them promises to one another. Inside the midst of all of this, it's still a festival going on, and we see the festival bringing nothing but joy and happy moments towards everybody. We see that we have Bonnie in her true form as her 12-year-old self is looking up at her father, Kuma, and of course, loving every moment they have together because they got to finally see Joy Boy together. And as they set sail, the ship is taken along with the Elbaf giant ship and is tied along to, of course, the Thousand Sunny. And they're going strong. But we cut through to the horizon and we see somewhere far across the sea that, of course, in one of red-haired Shanks' territories, there is a pirate known as Bartolomeo, the Man-Eater. And he's going around burning down the flags and making sure that the world knows that the Straw Hat Grand Fleet means business. Or is he? Because he has got caught finally. And of course, Shanks and Beckman, as well as the rest of the crew, are looking on. And they're just simply looking at him and saying, we got to make a lesson out of you. But of course, before they can get to anything, Bartolomeo simply pleads his apology. He begs for his forgiveness. And he's just another arrogant, stupid thing that a young upstart wants to do by battling one of the emperors and losing. Let this be the story. Let the story not be that Luffy, the pirate captain of the Grand Fleet of the Straw Hat Pirates, is behind this. Bartolomeo wants nobody to know that, of course, Luffy is behind this. He wants nothing to be tied there because Luffy, of course, never told them to put their drinks inside the air and drink up to, of course, becoming the Straw Hat Grand Fleet. They're doing it on their own free will. And Shanks is stuck. He's looking on, and he's in complete silence. As Hanjiro goes over to him, the medical doctor of the red-haired pirates, he gives him this bottle and tells Bartolomeo, "You must take this deadly poison to Straw Hat Luffy within the next month." And of course, Bartolomeo simply looks on and he tells him that it never happened. And he takes the bottle and he downs all of the poison that was inside that bottle for himself without a blink of an eye. And this crew is looking on. Bartolomeo's crying. He's telling people, "Hey, please don't get Mr. Luffy involved inside this. This has nothing to do with him. This is all because of me." And he looks at his crew and tells them, "You got to live on. You have to go." And then out of nowhere, he burps. He stops inside of his sentence and he looks on and simply realizes that it was a joke. So Bartolomeo and of course his crew all get together and finally try to get away from where they're currently at, to leave the red-haired pirates alone. And they get on their aboard and take their ship and set off to sail. But don't worry, because a message will still be sent. We have Yasopp, one of the greatest snipers to ever do it, looks down that barrel, sees, of course, Bartolomeo's ship, and what does he do? He sinks it into the water with one shot. He shoots off this shot that simply burns down the entire ship and blows it all up. But the Bartolomeo pirate ship is sinking, and their status is unknown. And then we jump around right from there, and we look over. We're on, of course, Pirate Island, full of lead. Get it? Full of lead? All right, enough of that. And of course, what the hell happened here? Pizarro is looking on and he sees that things are not what it seems. Everything looks bad because he let Captain Kobe get away. And Teacher's back with the gun inside of his hand as he simply looks on and says, "Do you not know what this means? How could you do this to us? We needed Captain Kobe as a bargaining leverage to, of course, the war government and the Navy." And they're simply going back and forth at it until out of nowhere, Pizarro finally realizes and tells him, "We got you something better, a lot better than Captain Kobe. We got you, of course, the legend of the Marines himself, Monkey D. Garp." And as he looks on and says, "We have Monkey D. Garp," they start laughing and having a great time. And Kuzan, oh boy, Teach looks at him and he tells him straight up, "Nobody could have caught him. I'm glad that you were here, Kuzan." Of course, Kuzan knows that it took a lot of them to do it. And he thought he would have killed Garp, but instead Garp ended up alive still. Garp's still a lot tougher than he used to be. But Kuzan has his eyes covered as he looks on because he knows not of what he has done. Well, he knows what he's done, but he looks on because the simple fact is it's the same exact thing that Kizaru went through with Vegapunk. And Kizaru, we all know, best friends with Vegapunk. And he didn't want to do that to him. He didn't want to have to stab him and be the one who ends his life. Kuzan feels the exact same way. Garp was his mentor, his teacher. He was like an uncle to him or a father figure to him, raising him up from a young upstart inside the Marines all the way to who he is now. And Teach looks on and says, "This is amazing. We now have Monkey D. Garp and that three-eyed girl. Things are looking up for our favor. It's time for us to set sail and get these pony gloves because the world as we know it is on full throttle and everybody is trying to figure out how to get their hands on the One Piece." Teach then sends out a call. He calls over and simply has to ask a few things and check up on a few stuff because we know what's happening with Marijois. Marijois is, of course, not getting any food to them. It's a Navy HQ base there, but that food and the ships are simply not coming in at all. As Teach is on the phone with Lafitte, he's going back and forth, and he's simply trying to figure out what's the status update looking like. And Lafitte tells him that these ports keep breaking down if they get past, and of course, any ship that comes in is not going to make it in. And the rare ones that do, the really rare ones that do, are taken care of as they are getting brought up to the top of the Red Mountain. Tells them, "Come on back in." So they're coming back in now, And Lafitte is now on his way back to, of course, Pirate Island because it's time to put Teach's plan in motion. And we see two people, well, three rather, that's arriving there. We have Katarina Devon and Van Auger, both arriving there finally, and Pizarro is taking them up, even though he's injured. He makes a quick joke about it. But they're not alone. They have Caribou with them, and Caribou is simply screaming, and he's going on and on and on because he sees a giant monstrous figure plucking him right out the sea, not knowing that Pizarro, of course, is part of the Blackbeard Pirates. So we cut away from them because now Blackbeard's plan is moving into play. It's time to set sail. It's time to go ahead and figure out what all these One Pieces are, these poneglyphs are, and we have our bargaining chip Puddin with us now. Puddin is the key to reading all of the poneglyphs and understanding them in full effect. If she has finally unlocked her true potential and is able to actually read. But days go past. We finally wake up. We're back on the Elbaf ship, and we look over, and we see, of course, a giant sea monster riding around, and everybody's waking up now, and they're looking around, and of course, they don't see the Thousand Sunny. The Thousand Sunny, nobody knows where it's at now. And a joke was made by Robin. We all know her sense of humor. She has this dark, twisted humor. She says, I wonder if it got chomped up to bits by one of these fish. And of course, Frankie freaks out and tells her, that's not even funny. Don't make jokes about that. How could you clown around with something? And everybody screams out, where did you go, Luffy? And then we see somebody start blinking. And as the eyes open up, we hear in the background, Nami. Nami, hey, wake up. And as she opens her eyes and moves her hand from around her, we see that she thinks that she has a hangover. But that's not just it. She's actually inside of a world or a different area, dressed up in her new outfit and her new Elbaf outfit at that. Looking extremely beautiful. Oh, Nami, do your thing, girl. You out here killing. But we see Nami waking up. She has a sword on her back. Her new clothes are inside there. And it looks like the floor is made out of Lego pieces. So we're going to see exactly where the Straw Hat ship went. Where's Luffy, Zoro, where's Nami, of course, because they're all waking up finally. And it's time to see what the beginning of the next arc looks like. We're in the final saga, of course. This is the final saga of One Piece coming to the end. Our Egghead arc has finished, and it's time for our new arc to begin. Where's Nami at? She has on the Elbaf clothes, so she could be inside Elbaf. But the floor looks like Lego pieces, so it could be something else. Stay tuned, though, because we will figure out what exactly that is in this upcoming chapter we have when the next one is released just next week. But until then, 12 is here. He hopes that you guys are making sure we get a like, comment down below, and subscribe because it helps the algorithm really move our stuff around. And of course, you know what we're doing out here. Time for us to officially sign off.